You're also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to
You
criminate.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main
You
intent
have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent
Are
to
you a
criminate.
known racketeer?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to criminate.
Her name Winkleman of the Elizabeth
You ever
Police.
get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of
None
these
of
that
them.
I've been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettes?
No.
You
I
think-
don't even speak to the. I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even.
Welcome, folks. Welcome to the Smoke Show. John, you got a mute on that mic, man? That'd be great. Coughing right in the middle of all that.
It is.
Damn it.
It is muted.
Welcome to the Smoke Show, guys. Let me get James back in here. He's in and out as well. We've got a pretty good show for us tonight. We got good 4 solid recipes, 4 solid tries. It's some somewhat unique ways to cook foods that we're common with. But tonight with us, we've got Jason from 3D Responses out of Minnesota. We got Big Ron, we got James, and we've got John Cox, 2A Talk and Tactical YouTube channel. And, well, not just YouTube channel. John, you're on everything, aren't you?
I had to find another mute
sure you're
button.
muted
Yeah, I
that
am.
time.
Yeah, I am.
There we go.
I'm on all of them.
So 2A Talk and Tactical, he's got some good stuff. I know he's on TikTok, folks, and I think I've got these videos squared away where even I may be able to post onto TikTok now. Ed Farmer, that is the gentleman I forgot. Sir, would one of you great co-hosts send Ed Farmer an invite to the studio? I apologize, Ed. I knew there was somebody I was forgetting, and I'm glad you popped in to give us a reminder. I usually
Yeah, I'll
just
send it.
ignore Jason. I don't typically ignore other folks, but Jason's one I usually pretend to forget. But and we got James. What's going on, James?
Oh, not much. Just waiting to go to work on a Sunday.
All right, you're going to be our food critic tonight. All right, Ed. One of my guys is going to send you an invite. If you'll click that, it'll bring you right into the studio, and we'll burn a little bit of time, give you a chance to get here. But we've got 4 different dishes tonight we're going to talk about. One is a chicken fried bacon done by Jason. We've got 2 actually from Big Ron. The Big Ron household's been pretty busy. Of course, we missed last week, so we're actually doing pretty good on. I've got more videos than I can edit, so we're good for the next couple of weeks actually. But Big Ron brought us burger dogs, or cheeseburger dogs, you could call them, which is a very unique concept. I can't say that I'm angry with it after seeing the submission on it. You also did peppercorn cream sauce. Tell me what you thought about the peppercorn cream sauce. Was that the first time you've done it, Big Ron?
Yeah, that's the first time that we've done it. That's the first time that we did that, and we actually took your advice and sweated out the peppers, and that actually worked out really well. And the unused peppercorns that we didn't use after roasting them and sweating them, we put into one of our grinders, and we use those on a daily basis with the fresh roasted peppercorns, which is phenomenal.
Well, tell us about tell us what you did on the sweating. Because
So
by the way, there wasn't a picture of video on that. I was a little disappointed.
Could have swore I sent a picture of the sweating.
You know what? A couple of weeks, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, we took got whole peppercorns and put them in a pan. Did a light roast on them until we started to see a little bit of the oils come out of them. Transferred the whole peppercorns out at that point, and then went ahead with the steak, and cooked the steak at that point, and then moved into the making the sauce. We only did one of the steaks in the pan, as it says, and the rest of them went to the grill, just because steak is better on the grill. So mixed up the peppercorn sauce.
Yeah, and I manipulated your recipe just slightly on that, saying that you could do it either way. I didn't show the grill portion on it because, I'll be quite honest with you, I was a little confused on everything that was going on. I know you've gotten several meals together, so I just did the peppercorn sauce and the single steak with photographs and the videos. But let's go back to sweating the peppercorns. So what you're doing is you're putting it in a hot pan with just peppercorns. These aren't cracked peppercorns; they're whole black ones, right?
Yeah, that's correct. They were whole ones. We didn't use cracked ones. We used whole ones and did a light roast on it, and sweated them out that way.
Okay, and when you sweated them out, that folks that may not understand what we're talking about, it's such high heat that it actually starts bringing out some of the oils in the peppercorns. It looks like they're sweating. And when you see that, then you just take them off the heat, keep shaking the pan a little bit, and they'll cool down a little bit. But it roasts the peppercorn, but it also brings out some of the oils and gives it a lot more flavor. Now, did you guys crush the peppercorns before you put them in the into the sauce, or did you put any in whole?
No. So once we got ready to do the sauce, so it tells you to start the base of the sauce off with the drippings of the steak, and the drippings of the steak, or the steak was cooked in the sweated pepper sauce already. And then as we started to make the roux up and do the seasoning, then we started to grind those freshly roasted peppercorns into the sauce as we were cooking it.
I always take about a quarter of them, and I manipulated your recipe to show this. I always take about a quarter of those and put them in there without cracking, and then crack the others. And I don't like to crush them, grind them finely. I like to break them, usually with a meat tenderizer hammer, like between a towel or wax paper, and just crack them a couple of times and put them in there on top of that gravy. But what did you think about this? Is this the first time you've ever had peppercorn cream gravy?
It was, and we actually did potatoes on the side also, and used the peppercorn sauce on the potatoes and the steak. It was phenomenal. Everybody in the house liked it. I was thoroughly impressed with that recipe, and I'm glad you suggested it.
And brother, it goes with just about anything other than fish. Maybe it goes with fish, but I mean, you can put it on vegetables. Goes great with potatoes.
I think it'd be good on
any
country
other
fried
meat
steak.
besides. I think it absolutely would.
Country fried steak,
Guys, I'm kind of waiting on Ed to get in here before we get our first video going. But we've also got Vet. Vet may not make it tonight, but we got Vet's smoked pork ribs. Looked like he did another pretty good job. It's interesting, though, I've noticed Vet does some pretty solid entries every week, but he doesn't go out on a limb like, chicken fried steak bacon or smoking spaghetti sauce or anything like that. I think that's because he got some hungry kids there that make sure that he could get beat up if he puts a bad dinner on the table like that. So I find that interesting. But he's always got solid dishes. These smoked pork ribs he did, they look pretty solid. I definitely wouldn't turn those away, I don't think. All right, guys, I tell you what, let's go to the first one. Since we've already talked about it, let's just jump into the peppercorn. You ready for that, Ron? All right, then. That's what we're going to do. Okay, that's one of the steaks you cooked in a pan, correct?
Yeah, that's one of the steaks we cooked in the pan. We actually cooked the biggest of the three. We just got three big steaks like that from the commissary and did one in the pan and the other two on the grill.
All right, what do you think about your music? You like that? You digging it?
No, that's awesome.
All right, well, here we go. Okay, so you did something with alcohol here. Okay.
I used the brandy because that's what I had in my cabinet. I didn't have any cognac. I know anybody who knows me, that's probably odd, but didn't have any cognac in the cabinet. Did have brandy, so we used brandy. The aroma was phenomenal as the alcohol cooked off of that. The beef stock, I prefer stock over broth because I think it's got a more bold flavor to it. Broth seems to be a little bit more watered down. The heavy cream is definitely a must to give you that richness and that creaminess. And then where it says 2 to 3 tablespoons of black peppercorns, like we said, we sweated it first, and then we just put them in the grinder and cracked them into the sauce that cooked until it looked good.
Okay. Okay. Did you use a cast iron skillet?
I did not use a
Or
cast
did you
iron
use your
skillet.
ceramic? You used your ceramic one, right?
Yeah, I used the ceramic one for the sauce. It was nonstick, a little bit of an easier cleanup.
Okay.
I do have a cast iron one though.
Cast iron works well with those. I'll be honest with you, I've never tried them in anything other than a cast iron. Every time I've done it, I've always used a cast iron skillet to do it. So that could be a preference and maybe not a big difference at all. But did you notice, was it hard to tell when they were sweating?
At first, because we didn't cook them long enough. We really had to cook them to get them to start sweating. And then once they did, you could start to see the shininess start to form on them, and then you could tell they were sweating.
Could you tell the difference in the smell?
You could. And Bonnie could really tell the difference in the smell when she started sneezing.
Yeah, well, yeah. When they start to sweat, it's time to come off because now you're putting it into the air.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's see more.
Definitely tickles the cilia.
Till they start to sweat. Okay, so now we add the brandy or cognac.
All right, buddy.
And you're going to simmer that down, right? There it is.
Yeah, that's
You
the
said it
cognac
smelled
right there burning
great.
off. Oh, I'm sorry, the brandy burning off.
All right, now this is the beef. Stock, right? You use stock? Yeah, it looks like it's stock.
Yeah, we
Does
prefer
look
the
good.
stock over the broth because the stock's got a bolder flavor. The broth is always just too watered down.
Okay, now we're going to bring in the cream. Did you have any issues with the cream in the pan being too hot? Well, let's keep going.
No, we didn't have any issues. We let the pan cool a little bit, almost to a simmer, before we incorporated the cream. That way, we didn't get any curdling.
Yeah, no, good move because you do want that pan to cool down. It's almost better for it to be too cool than too hot. So that's the fresh pepper going on that you cracked.
Yep, fresh crack coming out of the grinder.
All right, well, let's look at this. We have a Hasselbacked potato with cheesy one looking pretty decent over there. And that's your steak. And with the pepper, that's the consistency on it. Kind of almost like milk. Thick milk,
Yeah, it was a little thinner than what we wanted. Like I said, first time we made it, we should have probably simmered a bit longer, reduced it down to a thickness. We even added a little bit of thickener to it. But again, first time, first trial. So yeah, next time it'll be a lot thicker.
Well, now don't forget it's a sauce and not a gravy. It should be a little thin. But I mean, you can make it however you like, but it's not a fail if that's a little thin. We've got Ed in the house. Welcome, Ed. How you doing?
All right. I cut the camera off. It's a mess in here.
Yeah, no worries. We're going to be watching, looking at pictures and videos of food anyway. We've got on the stage here. This is a peppercorn cream sauce that Big Ron did with a Hasselback potato on a pan steak. We're right here at the end of it, but let's finish this out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm hitting the wrong one. Sorry, guys.
I'll tell you what, those plates that I have with that high lip on the edge are great whenever you're dealing with something with a lot of juice or gravy.
Thank you.
Huh. Sound like a pain in the ass to clean. That's all I heard. I don't have a problem with gravy getting off my plate. I just go back for some more.
I've got a dishwasher. one built in and two in the kitchen.
All right, so I'm gonna go to James. James is our local food critic. What do you think about the peppercorn cream sauce, James?
Well, it's certainly something I've never thought of doing before, but I'm definitely looking at doing it in the future. I love peppercorn. Absolutely love it. Fresh peppercorn, and my gosh, that looked good.
It is good, and honestly, guys, this is not like a new invention. I had it. I think the first time I had it was in Europe, but any opportunity I'm at a restaurant that has it, I always grab it. It's really good. John, what do you think about that?
No, that actually looked good, and I agree. I like the way it looks like a sauce better or more so than a gravy. That actually looked really good.
It's more refined when you call it a sauce. Jason?
I thought it looked awesome. I did an Alabama white sauce from scratch once. That was really good, but I'm definitely going to be making that. In fact, Ron, if you could, when you get a chance, send me that recipe on the sauce.
It's on the video.
I wasn't writing it down. I was watching.
If you like, I'll send you the video and you can just watch it like that if you like. But Ed, were you able? I know you've been working on getting into the studio. And by the way, welcome to the Smoke Show. This is Ed's first appearance on the Smoke Show, so we want to welcome you, my friend. For those of you who don't know, Ed commonly hits us in the after party on the Smoke Shows, and he throws down some pretty mean recipes. So I'm going to try to get him incorporated into doing some of this stuff for us, and we get to see how a guy who may be on the next level for most of us when it comes to smoking meats. And I haven't found anything that I thought I'd smoked that he has not. He's actually one-upped me each time, and he always makes pictures and recipes. So welcome, Ed.
Thank you. Had to step outside. My dogs were barking like crazy. I just got through feeding them. Oh.
All good. Just a lazy Sunday afternoon. That's what this show is. Talking about some food. We've got Casey. Casey's a good friend of ours in the X Spaces, and I think she actually really enjoys the Smoke Show. She's always talking about it. She's one of the few people that stay in the space when we start talking about it. If y'all notice that, a lot of people are like, okay, I'm out. But some people do enjoy it like I do, and I think the rest of you guys do. But let's jump on to look at our time, make sure we're right. We're doing okay. I'm going to wait on, you know what, we're going to go straight to chicken fried bacon now. Now, this is a Jason submission, chicken fried bacon. He took pork bacon, he smoked it. Again, you know, it's already smoked, but he smoked it some more. And then prepared this like you would a chicken fried steak or a chicken fried, or chicken fried chicken, as it would be. So let's take a look at this, Jim. All right, let's talk about this ingredients we got here. So we got some just regular sliced bacon in a package, right, Jason?
Yep.
And you've got some Blanco meat church stuff there, of course, because it wouldn't be a meal in the Jason household unless you got some Blanco or some meat church product on it.
100% true.
And we got buttermilk, and looks like we've also got, is that meat church also seasoned, or is that seasoned flour is what that is?
Yeah, that's all. It's seasoned flour, and then some peanut oil.
Okay. And 4 eggs, and that gets you started on some chicken fried bacon. Here we go. Hope you like this music I picked out for you. It had a circus theme.
Yeah, it's fitting for this meal.
All right. Now you said Diablo. Is that the same thing as Blanco?
My bad. It should have been Blanco. I don't even know what Blanco
Okay, so
means.
what we see in the picture is correct. It's white.
Yes. Yep.
It's literally Spanish for white. So once again, there's a theme here, folks, and John, you guys can back me up, or you can say that I'm imagining this, but he's very organized with his bacon placement. Jason is. Have y'all noticed that as well?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's got that laid out just to season it, but he's got it all laid out there real nice.
He said last time it was just to make it all fit on one plate, but I think there's a little OCD in play here.
Yeah, he's organized with his sliced meat. So we cut the. Why do you cut the bacon in half?
It's easier to deal with, and then especially when you're going to be dipping it in the batter, it's just more of a. I'm used to doing fish this way, so just more of an easy way to deal with.
So it makes it manageable, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a good word.
I buy that. So that's all seasoned up, ready to go onto the smoker, right? Okay, you're gonna take this bacon that's already been seasoned and cut in half, and you're gonna take it and put it out onto a smoker at 160 degrees.
Yep, because I'm going to be frying it later, and I didn't want to overcook it in the smoker.
Yeah, that's what I would think. How when you took it off the smoker, was it like really greasy? Do you have a lot of fat rendering down, or was it just kind of slimy?
It was probably half cooked. It wasn't real greasy or slimy.
Okay. All right, so you're going to fry them again at 350 degrees.
Yep.
And there you are at 328. Okay, so we're going to take in one bowl. We're going to take all basically the wet ingredients, and we're going to mix them in. That's the buttermilk and the eggs. Whisk them up in a bowl, right?
Yep. Basically, we're gonna do a double drench. We're gonna take each piece and we're gonna drop it in the flour first, and then we're gonna put it in the. Shut up, Joe. We're gonna put the eggs in the buttermilk, dip it in that, and then bring it back to the flour a second time.
Okay, so two bowls, all the wet stuff in one, and then you pour your meat church flour mix in just another bowl. So we got two bowls.
Correct.
There they are. Nice. I like we did that product placement. So we're going to double dip, as you said, and you said this. We're going to double dip the flour in the flour, and then you're going to go to egg, and then you're going to go back to flour, right?
Correct.
All right, there's dip number one. There's the egg. Single dip egg. Yeah, good method there. There's dip number two. You're working it there. Look at that.
Hey Jason, I got this thing at Bass Pro Shops called Uncle Buck's Batter Box. It works great for this kind of stuff.
Hey, I can get a Ziploc baggie or a paper sack and make it work better than that. But okay, so you fried the bacon, and you recommend ranch. Okay, let's take a look at that. This is our end picture. Now it looks good, Jason. I think if you compare that to chicken fried steak or chicken fried chicken, I say the texture looks good. There must have been some like baking powder or something like that in that mix. There's more than just flour, because that's a good coating that it's got on it. But you and I talked about this before you did it, and I said that I was more concerned that when you're frying the bacon and it's encased in the breading, that some of the fat or the bacon's going to reduce itself in size, leaving a lot of batter and maybe not much bacon in there. Did you encounter that when you had these little bite-sized pieces done?
Yeah, I did actually. There was air gaps in there. You were exactly right. The bacon shrunk down, and the flour remained its original size once it crispied up, but the bacon shrunk. So that did happen.
Well, do you think it could have puffed it up a little bit because of like off gassing of the the juices and everything being fried in there? But was that a negative experience, or was it kind of light and fluffy on the crust?
It was the crust was crispy. The bacon could have been a little more crispier, but overall the taste was very, very rich. I think one of those meals where you know, two pieces and it's like, okay, that's rich, but it tastes great. I'm not sure I'd do it again because it was almost too rich, or if I did again, I would probably take the seasoning out of it and just cook it just plain. Bacon's rich enough, let alone seasoning it on top of it. But
that's a solid point right there. Bacon's pretty tasty. It's kind of like putting A1 on a steak. But wait.
We don't use steak sauce. If the meat is cooked right, you don't need sauce.
Calm down, my friend. That was kind of my point.
So, question: instead of doing the seasoning in the flour, what about if you done the seasoning in the egg wash just a little bit? Would that make a difference or no?
I've never done seasoning in the egg wash. I've always put it in the flour. I've never tried it that way.
The reason I ask is I've added a little bit of instead like salt when I do fried squash. Instead of adding the salt in the flour or cornbread mix or cornmeal mix, I'll add it in the egg, and it's not overwhelming like it would be if it's actually in the batter, so to speak.
I think what Jason is saying, and I kind of agree with him, is that bacon, because once you're frying it like that, if you've ever cooked bacon in a pan, watch it. You'll have the steam and the moisture that's escaping from the bacon very rapidly. That's happening in with the crust there, so it's kind of puffing it out, but it's also infusing the crust even with some bacon flavor. I think bacon may be all you need on that.
Yeah, to do it again, I would leave the seasoning out.
Okay, so if it's too rich, to sit and eat it like a snack with a cup of ranch and your fried bacon strips, like literally fried bacon strips. What about making this up in like maybe if you got a big party and you've got a salad, maybe you could maybe chop this stuff up. Is it crunchy enough to be able to chop up, Jason, into like small bits, and put it onto a salad? Like a Caesar?
I'd have
sounds
to
pretty good actually.
I'd have to probably cook it a little longer, get the bacon a little more crispy, but we mentioned before this would be phenomenal crushed up onto a baked potato.
Yeah. How about a Hasselbacked potato? This later across the top of it. That might be pretty damn good.
That too would be good.
Hey, with the cracked or the peppercorn cream sauce poured over the top of it. Yeah. You might want to book your room at the local ER to get the cholesterol pumped out, but that would be delicious before you died.
Casey
So
you
talk about
sorry.
Yeah, Casey, I'll throw it's a meat church. It's Jason, so if it's not a standard brand, it's going to be meat church. But he's using a meat church premix batter, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to give him that. That batter looks outstanding. Or the way it fried out looks good. But I want to go back to you. You said that it was you'd have to cook it more to get it more crispy. Was it crispy? Was it soft? People like bacon differently. What was this?
Kind of in the middle. I'm more of a crispy bacon guy. I think to do it again, I probably would have left it on the smoker a little bit longer. That's something that I'd have to play with to see what the consistency I'm looking for. My thought was when I put it in the oil, it's gonna cook itself pretty. I was afraid of it shrinking too much and being too crispy. So I was kind of hesitant to leave it on the smoker for too long. I just wanted to infuse it with as much smoke as possible. And yeah, but then when you put in the oil, I didn't want to burn the flour either. So it's a kind of a tricky process to get it perfect.
So you say it wasn't crispy and it wasn't soft. So what was it? El dente, like pasta?
No, Joe, it was not el dente.
It's hard to imagine exactly what you're saying. It's like, well, it's not this and it's not that. It's so was it okay if I took it and I bend it? Would it break or would it just like fold?
It would have folded.
That's soft, man. If it folds and doesn't break, that's soft. That's not in the middle.
It was actually the first bite was pretty good. El dente or not, it turned out okay.
He said the first bite was good.
Joe's like a child at Christmas. I mean,
I don't know.
He's got a new toy, so he's got a new water playing with it.
I think he's eating some gummies or something. I don't know what the hell his problem is today.
No, brother, Joe, don't do that. But no, I think it's funny. Let me ask you this, Jason. Would you call this a pass or a fail? Do you know what you look, guys? We're trying different stuff. Not you're gonna fail at some of these. It's okay.
I don't know.
You say this is a fail or not?
It's not a fail because it tasted good. But it was just too rich for me. So I'd say to do it again, I don't know if I would do it again. It was just too rich for me. If I did it again, I would definitely change some things. But it's fun trying shit out, and this was definitely one that when I looked at the recipe, I'm like, boy, that sounds amazing. And it's rich. It's very flavorful.
Okay. What do you think about it?
You're rubber banded.
You got
Still rubber banded. Jason, do you think where you double dredged it that if you only did it once that would have made it not so rich?
Maybe, but that's how I do fish fillets.
How
And that's
You're still rubber banding a little bit. I was just wondering, like, if it's getting a double dose of, I don't know, because that looks good. I like bacon about any kind of way, al dente, crisp, floppy, whatever. I don't care.
I mean, if you're concerned about the double dredge being what was overpowering, then you could just cut back the seasoning a bit, and then you would still get the same thing. It may have been the flour that I used or the seasoning. What kind of bacon did you use, Jason? Was it a maple? Was it a smoked? Was it low salt, high salt? All that can play into how a bacon tastes whenever you're doing something like that.
You know, that's a good. Yeah, I think it was hickory. But when I bought it, I wasn't even thinking that. I just wanted a thick cut. So that's a good point. Maybe next time just go with just a plain old, no flavored bacon.
I know when Bonnie and I do some stuff with bacon where it's not traditional, just for eggs. Normally we'll do a hickory, just a smoked low sodium. That extra salt in that bacon or removing that extra salt from the bacon really seems to help whenever you're doing something like that. We do a lot of candied bacon, or we'll do chocolate covered bacon, which is phenomenal. But if you use a really salty bacon, then sometimes it can throw the flavor off with the chocolate with the mix. So I would suggest if you next time you do it, go with a low sodium bacon and see if that changes your flavor a little bit.
Well, I'm planning on getting a pig fresh from the farmer. I think that would be the type of bacon I'd want to use. So I'll try it that way.
Why don't you get some pork belly, smoke it, and then slice it and try that.
Well, that could be good.
That sounds really good.
Well, we had Bruce Wayne stopped in for a quick, short second, then he's gone. And guys, I lost connection there for a minute. I don't know how far. Did everybody get a chance to talk about Jason's failed bacon chicken fry?
Yeah.
James?
Or B-Wayne.
Bruce is back.
I didn't pipe in, unfortunately, because I've never had anything chicken fried, so I can't exactly critique this one.
Okay, hold on here, John. I'm taking over the show for a minute. How could you have never had anything chicken fried? Where are you from again?
California?
Okay, never mind. That answers everything. My apologies, Joe. Back to you, buddy.
Wait, you don't have fried chicken in California? You seriously,
Well,
you've
we've
never
had
eaten
fried chicken, but I've never had anything chicken fried.
Well, what do you think a chicken's fried like? It's the same thing. It's just chicken.
We love you, James. We're just messing with you.
I think you guys are messing with me tonight. Hey, welcome, Bruce Wayne. How much of the show have you heard? Yeah, I don't know if I'm having trouble or if.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I got you.
I tell you what, let's go to Burger Dogs from Big Ron. Like I said, Big
These
Ron's
are
got 2
so
submissions.
good.
Oh, really? Let's take a look
so
at them.
good.
Here are the Burger Dogs by Big Ron. All right, let's check out the grocery cart. So we've got what? We've got Jimmy Dean bacon, some hamburger meat in a bowl. You've got literally cheese, string cheese, like you put in your kid's lunchbox.
Oh yeah, string cheese. We had to have that much because Bonnie and I
Okay.
ate about half of it while we were making it.
String cheese is not bad, but I'd never thought about putting it into like on a burger. So what are the 2 canisters of seasoning that you got there? What do you got there? What's going on there? What's in the bowl?
So the bowl is the garlic, the pepper, the salt, the dry ingredients that you saw, and then I kind of like with Jason and his meat church or whatever he uses. I like Everglades seasoning. It's basically just an MSG, and then the Yellowstone barbecue seasoning is pretty good. And I have another one that I use out there that I actually used in the brisket tonight. That I also like, but it's just generic barbecue seasoning, whatever you prefer to use. Some people prefer a sweeter barbecue seasoning, others prefer a little more peppery. I think this one goes well with it. It's not too peppery and it's not too sweet.
Okay, so is that Yellowstone from like the TV show? They have their own
Yeah, I guess it is. I guess that's where it came from.
Barbecue
is the TV
rub,
show.
steak rub?
Yeah, they've got all of it. We constantly try out new rubs that we'll see if we're at the one of the big box stores or on the base. When we see a new barbecue rub or seasoning, we'll try it and see if we like it. And I think I've mentioned this in one of the earlier episodes. I actually found out that Buc-ee's has got a really good brisket seasoning.
Look, man, Buc-ee's is a solid joint. I'm just gonna say.
No, I ain't complaining, man. When I drive by Buc-ee's, I stop for lunch.
Let's move this along here. So in a mixing bowl, we're going to combine the ground beef, egg, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and black pepper. And then mix everything up with your hands.
And we actually use that's the cracked pepper that we use from the peppercorn sauce too.
Oh, even better. Yeah. There it is. Mixing it up with your hands, just like you said. All right, we're going to pause on this one. Let's look at this. So we're going to divide this up into, it says 3 equal sections. So about a 1/3 pound each burger, I guess, is what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean that's the directions to do it. Honestly, like most of us, we just kind of eyeball it. You'll see when we get to the next video what I mean by that. But yeah, for the most part, just eyeball it. And on an offside, one of the things I am going to recommend throw a little bit of that barbecue seasoning into that ground beef too. It'll give that ground beef just a touch more flavor.
Okay, so mix it in with the meat as well, right?
Yep, definitely. And and if you wanted to, you could probably use some W sauce in there too. You can't ever go wrong with a little bit of W sauce in the ground beef.
Well, we're doing burgers. It sounds like it's turning into meatloaf. Does it have more of a meatloaf taste or more of a burger taste?
No, it's more of a burger taste. It's definitely more of a burger taste. You don't have all the other ingredients from the meatloaf in there.
Okay, let's move along. So you got your string cheese there, a little action shot. So you're just rolling it up into like a little hot dog looking ground beef thing.
Yippers. Yeah, just gonna roll it up to where you get them to look like that. Equal size. You want to try to be the same thickness all the way around. You don't want thin spots. The cheese will leak out, or some of the sides will cook faster.
Okay, so you're gonna wrap 2 pieces of bacon around it now, right?
Two to 3 pieces. Depends on how much bacon you like. I love bacon. You can't go wrong with bacon. So I think we actually used 3 pieces on these.
All right, so now you fire up the grill. What are you cooking this at? What kind of temperatures are we looking at on this one? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, you probably
we got you.
my mic off mute. So I set mine at about 375. Cooked for 20-25 minutes, keeping an idea. What I did is I just kind of probed it every so often just to make sure that the ground beef was thoroughly cooked. That was my biggest concern. But given the fact that it is ground beef, you can be a little bit on the rare side and be okay. But cook it all the way through. You're gonna add the barbecue seasoning to the outside of that bacon before it goes onto the grill. You want to turn them about every 10 or 15 minutes. Just keep that nice caramelization on your bacon. It says to put them in a hot dog bun, but we tossed them on a plate and just split them open like that, and it was so good. Those are a full meal by themselves. They are so filling.
All right, boys, critique this. Let me throw that up there so y'all can get a good pick. This is the glory pick here at the end.
I don't know that there is a
James,
critique.
or actually, let's go to Bruce. Bruce just got in. Bruce, what do you think about this?
So good, he's speechless.
All right.
I love it.
How about Ed? Ed, what do you think about this?
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna have to try that.
You down with all the barbecue seasonings on the outside and all that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would use a sauce on it. I like dry rubs on everything.
Yeah, everything was completely dry rubbed. I used no sauces on the exterior of this at all, Ed.
Okay.
They're
I'm
really
a dry
good
rub
tasting.
kind of too. All right, James, give me your critique on this.
That looks absolutely fantastic. I never thought of putting string cheese inside of something to cook it. That's done crazy.
Just wait till I do my meatloaf.
Okay.
Well, I'm hoping we get some video of that. Bruce, you with us?
Yeah, Dory's having some trouble with my headphones. Looks fantastic.
No worries.
That
was you just coming in being nice. Nobody's got any critique on this at all.
Well, is just the barbecue enough moisture? Like, was that ground beef moist enough?
Yeah, and it all depends on what kind of ground beef you're going to use too. You could, I definitely suggest at least 80%. You need that fat content for flavor and for moisture. I'm a big fan of ground chuck. It's got a little bit of a higher fat content, but it's also a higher quality of meat. So that's going to give you a little bit of a better flavor. But yeah, the bacon and everything, wrapping all that up keeps the moisture inside. It's not dry whatsoever. You just got to monitor that temperature because anything can be dry if you overcook it. Anything can be raw if you undercook it. You just got to find that median. So yeah, if you could look at the meat and see that it's glistening still. It's still juicy on the inside. So it's really, really good.
I tell you what, Big Ron, that statement, anything can be dry if you overcook it, and anything can be rare if you undercook it, is almost as profound as what Jason said. Well, my bacon wasn't crispy, but it wasn't soft either. It's profound.
I could be a
Go ahead,
writer.
John.
I don't see a critique. That looks good. I mean, he nailed Ron. You nailed that. I mean, the bacon.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, the bacon looks awesome. I I don't know if it's the way the picture is, but it almost looks like there's a little bit of pink in the hamburger right next to the cheese, but I like that. So you nailed that.
No, there was just a touch of pink at the very center, partially because of the cheese. So it's going to be a wee bit cooler down there when you're cooking it. But it just was great. The flavors were awesome.
That was good. Now, did you put a dry rub on the bacon?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. In fact, if you look at some of the earlier pictures, you'll see just before they go on the grill. I don't know if Joe added that one in there, but there is a picture of them sitting on the right there. You can see there's a dry rub on top of the bacon.
I got you now. Okay. Cool.
Unfortunately, what was in the pan next to it was a failure.
Well, tell us about that. What did you try there?
Well, no, it's actually something we.
Bad. It's like a body being covered.
It is. It really is. It was horrible. It was a murder. So we'll take the small red potatoes, the russet potatoes. We'll chop them up, mix them in with some bacon, a little bit of butter and seasoning, cover them up, put them on the grill. Well, I put them on the grill and completely forgot they were there and burned them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you'll have that. At least you didn't do the.
No, we didn't burn that. We don't burn the meat.
Cheeseburger bacon dog. They do look good.
Oh, they were phenomenal. That's probably one of my best things I've cooked so far.
I'm
Jason,
definitely
you got a critique?
I'm definitely doing this. I'm going to change it up a little bit though. I'd like to maybe do about 4 of them, but a different type of cheese in each one. I think a pepper jack would be great, or even a cheddar.
I was thinking a Colby Jack.
Or Colby Jack. I think trying different cheeses in there would be really interesting for your profile, because each cheese is going to kind of make the whole thing taste different. But
I agree, and they do make the like Casey made a comment over there that they make them in different flavors. You can get the string cheese in Colby Jack or pepper jack or mozzarella. So yeah, definitely a good idea.
Might even have to add some diced jalapenos.
Yeah, you could do that too. Give it a little bit of a kick, almost like the shotgun shells we did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Got a question. So it's a cheeseburger hot dog. Does it taste like a cheeseburger? What does it taste like? I mean,
it tastes like a bacon cheeseburger with cheese.
So what if you put it on a bun with like mustard or whatever it is you put on your burger? Would you think you're eating a long cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger? Because I typically don't have a lot of barbecue seasonings on my hamburger.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a good way to describe it. I mean, you could do it without the seasoning, just do salt, pepper, garlic. Basically your all-purpose seasoning. We were just following a recipe, so there's definitely different ways to do this, but these were phenomenal. I mean, they're good, and then honestly, the prep time doesn't take that long. It's fairly simple. It does say to freeze the cheese stick. We didn't freeze the cheese stick. We took it straight out of the fridge. We do keep our fridge a little cooler, but took it straight out of the fridge, wrapped it, and then put it straight to the grill. I think the whole process took an hour, maybe a little more from done to done. So,
could you see doing this for like when you have guests coming over for a little family party or a big?
This would be great. Yeah, this would be great. Not only would it be a good talking point, but it feeds a lot. I mean, one of these damn near filled me up. I ate 2 of them and I regretted it. So, you could pop a bunch of these out. So yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. And again, it's one of those things you could do them the night before too, and put them in the fridge, and then just pull them out in the morning and put them on the grill.
Now, did you use any kind of wood chips? Or no?
I did it on my pellet smoker, so yeah. I used mesquite.
Okay. Damn.
Good job, John.
Okay, so John, we got about 10 minutes left, guys. We're going to be shutting this down at the top of the hour. There's a space show that I want to attend that Carl, the gun collecting friend of ours, is throwing on for Dexter Taylor. Just kind of go over the latest news and just make sure we don't forget about our friend Dexter. And that kicks off at the top of the hour. we're going to kick out of here, and I think me and my co-host will be there. I will be there for sure. But John, before we go, you did you were going to do a recipe of what? Some chicken wings?
Crispy chicken wings, yeah, on the smoker. The flavors were there. I did a homemade garlic butter. I did another one with Meat Church Voodoo seasoning, and then I just done some plain. The chicken wings, the flavor was, I mean, out of this world. The only thing I was disappointed in was that the skin was very rubbery. It would not crisp up. To look at it, it looked crispy, but it was not. I mean, it was like chewing on rubber bands. But the meat part was good.
I was told to do chicken wings, dust them with some baking powder, not baking soda, but baking powder.
Well, yeah, that's what I did. I'm sorry, I may have misspoke. Yeah, it was baking powder. Joe, I think we were talking about it before the show went live. Joe seems to think it was a heat thing.
Yeah, it probably was.
Okay, there's what's going on here. I'm putting your pictures up there, John.
Yeah, so okay, so that's the wings, and I'd already like dashed them a little bit with some salt, and then I sprinkled just a little bit of baking powder on them and let them sit maybe 10-15 minutes before I put them on the smoker.
What does the baking powder do for them on the smoker? I'm curious about that. I've used it in frying before, but never in smoking.
Supposedly, it helps draw more of the moisture out along with the salt. Now, I didn't put a lot of salt on it, but that's what the baking powder is supposed to do.
Maybe you should have put it on before you put anything else on it.
What you're saying, the baking powder and then the salt?
Yeah, the baking powder first.
Oh.
That's supposed to get in there. That's help crisp up the skin.
And you may be onto something because when I read the instructions, I read them fast. So I did salt and then baking powder. But then when I went back and read, it said like mix your salt and baking powder together and then like shake them. So you may be onto something. I don't know. Like I said, the flavors were good. It was just the
Did you brine these or did you salt these prior?
Yeah, I sprinkled salt on them before I put the baking powder on.
You should do that about a day before. Coarse salt is even better. Coarse salt is even better by putting on it. It'll help draw some moisture out. I think the biggest problem you had on this is your temperatures. And I'm looking at your pictures. I've got a picture of the temperature gauge, and you're right. You're just at 225.
Well, that's what it said to do for the first 30 minutes. And then it said like
I think that's wrong. I think that's where you turned your skin into rubber. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is the heat was the issue on that. I didn't see any pictures of the temperature or anything like that, but yeah, I would probably do chicken wings at like 350, and I know my little Masterbuilt won't only go but 275. And I can't get crispy wings in it. I've tried.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely do it again. And I mean, it's not like I said. The wings were edible.
Okay.
It was just the skin.
Okay, this is for everyone on when it comes to crispy chicken skin or fowl skin. Remember when Jason and I were talking about the bacon? We talked about it before he did it. That there's going to be a lot of rendering action going on there with the coating around it, that you're going to have off gassing. I thought it would make the coating fluffier, and it did. But I was also worried that the bacon would have an enormous amount of shrinkage and that making it not that great, but it sounds like it turned out pretty decent. Same thing is happening with your chicken. You're wanting the heat from the inside to kind of off gas, if you will, and starts to separate the outer surface of the skin from the flesh. That's when it will dry, and that's when it gets crispy. If it stays close to the flesh, it will not. It's going to be, in fact, the closer and cooler, the more rubbery it will actually be. Some of it's so rubbery you can't even eat it. Y'all have had barbecue chicken like that old folks make when they slosh it in barbecue sauce. It's wet and dripping. You pull the drumsticks out, and then the skin's like rubber. And that's one of the reasons why, because it's never an opportunity. They're cooking it in liquid. There's not an opportunity to off gas and to create the conditions needed for crispy chicken.
Okay.
That's why beer can chicken is easy to do. It's upright, so it kind of has an upward gassing that goes through the whole body of the chicken. It's also good if you take drumsticks and do like you did here, lollipop them and hang them upside down inside there. But I think that's your rubbery chicken. Anything else you're talking about putting on there, it may not help it be the skin be crispy, but I don't think it's going to make it be rubbery. And Ed, what do you think? Or Jason, some of you other guys, what do you guys think on that? That's my opinion. You can take that for what it's worth.
Oh, I agree.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you too, Joe. If you don't have the temperature up high enough, that skin's just going to turn almost jelly sometimes, depending on your temperature levels.
Well, and now that you mention that, so when I did like peel the skin off of either the drumsticks or the flats, it did have that like I know it's going to sound gross, but like a mucusy type layer just on the underneath of the skin where it wasn't done. So I think
Way too cool. Way too cool.
One thing I brought up before with John was when I to crispy my chicken, I do almost a reverse sear where I'll smoke it to a certain temp and then I'll pull it off and I'll put it directly over an open flame and sear both sides of it. And that's the only way I've gotten both the tenderness of the chicken and then crispying up the skin on the outside.
Yep.
Yeah, and that makes sense too. But yeah, I'll do it again, see how it turns out. But the voodoo sauce is the bomb. Or rub, rather.
Come on, man. You can't say you had a mucus layer underneath. Hold up. You can't say you had a mucus layer under the skin of your chicken and tell me how good it tastes. That's
I said it was like that's what it was like. The flavor from even the garlic butter, but the garlic butter and the voodoo seasoning, it somehow or another made it into the actual meat.
Yeah. I always like to do that.
I can still taste it.
If the target's not directly head on, I really don't like to hit.
Really?
Yeah, no, I try not to do that when the target's not directly on, without a doubt.
Stick and move. Stick and move.
Stick and move. Stick and move. All right, guys, we got the last 3 minutes. We've got some great shows coming up this week on Night Court. Tuesday night, we've got some heavy hitters in the vaccine world or the medical world in general coming to Night Court. Is that James?
Yes, James.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought my mic was muted.
Yep. Tuesday night, we've got some embalmers, doctors, and people that have been vaccine injured and been paid settlements and lawsuits for this said vaccine injury that people say it's not happening. Some of you guys know it's going to be not Dr. Hirschman, but an embalmer out of Florida by the last name of Hirschman that is one of many that are finding very odd clots in deceased persons' bodies. I mean, to the point where it's not even sure if these deceased persons could have survived without it. And that's not to mention their death on their death certificates in most cases. But that show is going to be on Tuesday. Don't want to miss it. Friday or Thursday's show is going to be an exceptional show. We have a very special guest that's attached to the Ahmaud Arbery murder in 2020 in Georgia. If you'll remember, it was a black man running in a neighborhood. A father and son were chasing him, thinking that he was burglarizing houses. They encounter him with a shotgun. There's a struggle ensues, and they shoot him 3 times with a shotgun, or the son does. And they were convicted to life in prison without parole. I'm not going to divulge who the 2 guests that we got on, but I promise you they're intimate with every bit of the knowledge of this case. They were there from the beginning. That's going to be an outstanding show. We're looking forward to it, and we'll thank our guests when they get there. But for sure, going to be a great show. Guys, that's it for this one. We're going to close it out. For all you guys that are followers of us and know Carl, you should come check out the update on Dexter Taylor's case. Dexter Taylor, the man, not the case, on an X-Space show that's kicking off right now. But thanks, folks. We'll see you next time with some great recipes. We got some good stuff lined up for next week's smoke show. Thank you.
Do you ever get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of these that I've been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettis?
No.
You
I
think-
don't even speak to the... I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
No.
You also known as Duck Corella?
I refuse to